Story. Yes, tell it. Bring your ears like calabashes and your hearts like open doors. This is a tale of cloth and courage, of rules and wisdom, of a manager who forgot and a people who remembered. In the offices of Sunrise Agro Export, where printers chatter like guinea fowls and spreadsheets blink like fireflies, a manager tapes a sign, "No head wraps, effective immediately." But word travels fast on market winds. HR calls a legal briefing. The law enters like early rain, and the cloth that carries grandmother's stories begins to fly again. If this story stirs your spirit, like so more ears gather, share so more hands learn gentleness, and comment your city plus time, e.g. Abeokuta, 7:12 p.m. So the griot knows where and when the story is walking. The cloth that holds the sky. They say a town is only as tall as the stories it respects. In Makonda City, the new glass building of Sunrise Agro Export rose like a proud giraffe. Elevators hummed, keycards winked. The reception smelled of lemon and new paint. But on Monday, the day that tests every promise, a paper appeared on the ground floor notice board. Dress code update. No head wraps, headscarves, or cultural headcloths inside office premises. Signed Mr. Daniel Pike, Operations Manager. The paper sat shyly behind glass, but its words walked with long legs. Up on the third floor, Ama Kwarteng arrived with a smile and a head wrap the color of ripe mango. She tied it in her grandmother's way. One fold for work, one fold for family, one fold for God. Ama handled export documentation, those polite letters that convince ships to carry yams and shea butter across oceans. She typed softly, laughed warmly, and greeted the printer like an elder. Easy, Ogre machine. She had barely powered her laptop when Mr. Pike stepped into the bullpen, ego marching ahead of his shoes. "Ama," he said, pointing as if the sun on her head was a rule broken. "New policy. No head wraps. Please remove it immediately." The office paused. Chairs forgot to creak. Even the water dispenser held its breath. Ama stood, slow as respect. "Sir, may I ask why?" "Professional image," he said, tapping the laminate on the notice. "Clients from Europe will visit this week. We must be global." Ama smiled a soft, patient smile, the kind that keeps lightning inside. "Sir, this cloth is global too. My head wrap is not noise, it is language." Another colleague, Femi, whispered across a partition, "Ogre Pike, even the bank on Awori Street allows simple head wraps." Pike's jaw became a padlock. "Remove it, Ama, don't make me escalate." The office walls remembered other Mondays. They remembered women who cut their hair to fit a hat, men who changed names to fit a mood, accents smoothed until stories cracked. The walls sighed. Ama touched the mango cloth. She remembered her grandmother, Makua, who sold smoked sweet tilapia by the lake and tied her head wrap like a crown. "Child," Makua used to say, "a head wrap is a roof you carry when the sky forgets itself. It holds your thoughts together so your mouth will tell the truth gently." "I cannot remove it," Ama said softly. "It is part of my faith and part of my culture. Also, the air conditioning is cold, like a river, with no forgiveness." A chuckle bubbled in the bullpen, then hid. Mr. Pike glanced around, sensing loyalty leaking away. He pointed to the door. "Out. HR will address your insubordination." Ama could have cried. Instead, she reached for the talking calabash, the phone, opened the employee portal, and typed a message to HR. Subject, head wrap directive and accommodation request. "Dear HR, Ops Manager just enforced a no head wrap policy. My head wrap is a religious cultural practice and also for protective styling. I request guidance and accommodation under company policy and applicable law. Ama Kwarteng Export Docs." She placed the phone down like a drum you tap only when ready. Then she gathered her bag and walked with quiet dignity toward the lift. As she passed reception, the security guard, Auntie Lami, pressed a sweet into her palm. "Courage," Lami whispered. "Sugar for the tongue that must speak." HR lived on floor 6, where the carpet walked softly and the plants never died. Head of HR, Safia Okonkwo, had eyes like kind umbrellas and a mind that filed thunder by color. The email pinged on her screen. She read it once, then again, then called her team. "Family," she said, for HR at Sunrise called itself family as a promise to behave. "Operations has posted a blanket ban on head wraps. We will not treat culture like chewing gum on a shoe." "Policy?" asked Rudo, the HR generalist, with a memory for every comma in the handbook. Safia opened Company Dress and Safety Policy V3.2. She underlined a paragraph with her finger as if signing a treaty. Sunrise Agro-Export respects sincerely held religious, cultural and protective hair practices. Reasonable accommodations will be provided except where there is a legitimate safety or hygiene concern that cannot be mitigated. She smiled without joy. The policy is already on Amma's side. Now we must bring law and learning to the house. "Shall I book a room?" Rudo asked. "Book the Palm Hall," Safia said. "I want room enough for Pride to sit down and think. Invite operations, legal, facilities and 2 staff representatives from each floor. This afternoon, we will hold a legal briefing on protections. No one will leave without understanding." "Should we warn Mr. Pike?" whispered Jonah, who did payroll and disliked storms. "Invite him," Safia said, "and bring an umbrella." When Amma stepped into HR reception, she found a cup of ginger tea waiting and a sign on the wall, one Safia kept like a mirror for power. Rule 1. We are people, not just resources. Rule 2. Policies are for protection, not punishment. Rule 3. Culture is a library, do not ban the books. "Sit, child," said Auntie Jerry, HR's front-of-house anchor. "We saw your email. Your cloth is safe here." Amma sat. The tea warmed her complaint until it could fly without spitting. Safia joined her, took notes, asked precise questions, and listened the way Wells listened to thirsty people. She did not say, "Calm down." She said, "Tell me everything." When Amma finished, Safia nodded. "Thank you. Today at 3 p.m. we will host a legal briefing. You may attend as a staff witness if you wish, or you may rest and let policy speak. Either way, the cloth stays." Amma breathed, and the room expanded a little. At 2:58 p.m., the Palm Hall filled like a drum with hands ready to learn. On the front screen, big letters said, "Workplace Protections, Religion, Culture and Hair, What the Law and Policy Require." Safia stood beside company counsel Baba Kossi, a calm man with a voice like a rainy roof. Legal intern Essie arranged case summaries like cola nuts on a tray. Operations slid in with murmurs and cologne. Mr. Pike took a seat at the edge of the front row, arms folded like a bridge that refuses tolls. "Good afternoon," Safia began. "We are here because a sign went up that did not ask the right questions. At Sunrise, we grow food for the world. Let us also grow sense." A breeze of laughter stroked the room. She continued. "Our dress policy already recognizes religious and cultural head coverings and protective styles. The law in our country, and many we export to, also protects against discrimination based on religion, ethnicity, and increasingly, natural hair and cultural hairstyles. Unless there is a true safety or hygiene risk that we cannot solve with simple steps, we accommodate." Mr. Pike raised a finger a little too high. "Image matters. Clients from Europe." Baba Kossi stepped forward, voice gentle but firm. "Sir, your image must not eat someone's identity. Courts have said, neutral rules that burden protected practices need accommodations unless you can show undue hardship or safety. This is not safety. It is taste wearing a uniform." He clicked to a slide titled, "Questions to ask before you ban. Is there a real safety risk? Machines, open flames. Is there a real hygiene risk? Medical rooms, food handling? If yes, can we mitigate? Hairnets, pins, wrap-style adjustments. Is the rule neutral and consistently applied? No exceptions for hats, caps, fashion scarves. Have we considered religious, cultural accommodation and protective hair needs? Head wraps in an office," he concluded, "do not threaten safety or hygiene. They threaten only an idea that professionalism looks like one narrow mirror." The room hummed. Essie projected a short list of cases and guidances from regional labor authorities, names generalized for the tale, but the lessons true. Employers should allow religious head coverings unless a legitimate, documented safety or hygiene concern exists. Policies must be evenly applied and individualized accommodations considered. Sophia stepped in. And let us speak of protective styling. Many of our staff wear natural hair that needs protection from breakage, dryness, and the cold storm we call central air. Head wraps are not fashion only. They are health. Suppose a client complains, Mr. Pike asked, less sure now. Then we educate the client, Safia answered. We do not shrink our people to fit a cup of misunderstanding. Sunrise feeds communities. Our image is respect. From the second row, Auntie Lami, security, raised a hand. I will adjust entrance checks. Scarves and wraps will be checked for security like any hat, but with dignity, no public unwrapping. If a pat-down is ever needed, a same-gender officer in a private room. Excellent, said Safia, writing it on the flip chart under operational steps. From the back, Eunice in quality control added, hairnets only where hot oil or open machinery lives, not at desks. Document that, said Babakossi. Specificity saves confusion. Safia turned to the staff. We will also add head wrap etiquette guidelines, not to police style but to share options where safety matters. Secure wraps, no loose tails near equipment, detachable pins. Then she invited Amma to speak, if she wished. Amma stood. Her voice was a calabash holding both water and mirror. My grandmother taught me to tie cloth when big days come. I tie it for grief, for joy, for market, for Monday. When I cover my head, I am not hiding. I am carrying. I carry prayers. I carry focus. I carry women who worked before I learned the alphabet. Silence sat in the hall like a chief. Even the air conditioner reduced its argument. Someone in logistics clapped once, then twice. The room followed, fuller, then softer, like rain that knows when to stop. Safia closed the session with 3 sentences. Effective immediately, the head wrap ban is withdrawn. By tomorrow 10 a.m. we will publish accommodation and attire guidance. Next Wednesday, we host head wraps and professionalism. A session on style, safety, and story. Bring your cloth. HR will bring pins and mirrors. Mr. Pike stared at his shoes, which had done nothing wrong. He lifted his face slowly. I did not know. I wanted uniformity because it is easier to count. I forgot that what is easy to count is not always what counts. My apologies. Growth accepted, Safia said. Mercy the size of a hallway. Let us practice it. They broke like cola nut. Shared pieces, shared sweetness. And as Amma took the elevator down, her mango cloth catching the lift light like a small sunrise, the building felt taller, not because the glass reached higher, but because understanding had added another floor. The drum says, don, don, don. The moon replies, learn, learn, learn. The briefing turns to becoming morning came laughing, and sunrise agro-export came humming. On the notice board where bands once lived, a new poster smiled. Accommodation and attire guidance, V4.0, religious and cultural head coverings are welcome. Protective styles, head wraps, locks, braids are respected. Safety zones, hairnets or secured wraps near open machinery as flames. Security checks, private, same gender, respectful when needed. Questions? HR is a door. Knock. Femi from logistics wore a neat filler cap. HR had clarified. Caps are fine outside safety zones if faces stay visible. Zainab in trade finance wore a light scarf over twists. Baba Alao in facilities tied a modest cap for prayers and said the building's echo was softer today. But a policy is only a map. People must still walk the road. At 10 a.m., HR held head wraps and professionalism in Palm Hall. Tables carried mirrors, pins, bobby clips, and a rainbow of sample cloths. Ankara, Kente, Indigo, Aso Oke. Auntie Jerry taught 3 wraps: Market Queen, quick and strong, Desk Scholar, low profile for headsets, and Visitor's Sunrise, elegant, secure, camera-friendly. Secure tails away from shredders and tea kettles, she sang, pinning cloth like a lullaby. A wrap can be a page. Fold it so it reads clearly. People laughed, took selfies, and adjusted. Even Mr. Pike, hiding at the back like a palm tree caught in Harmattan, tried Desk Scholar with a practice cloth. The room clapped not because he looked beautiful, He looked like a puzzled yam, but because he looked teachable. Then legal returned to deepen the well. Essie presented a short, clear primer. Religion and culture. Employers must reasonably accommodate, unless accommodation causes undue hardship or real safety and hygiene risk. Protective hair. Policies must not target natural hair or styles historically linked to a protected group. Neutrality. Dress rules must be neutral and consistent. If you allow fashion hats, you cannot ban religious wraps without real reason. Interactive process. If there's a conflict, employer and employee must talk, explore options, and document. Respect in practice. Privacy for checks. No forcing public unwrapping. Do not carry the law like a hammer, Essie concluded. Carry it like a spirit level to make sure our house sits even. They role-played hard moments. A client whispers, "Why the cloth?" The account lead answers, "We value professionalism and culture. Our team reflects the markets we serve." A safety supervisor worries about loose fabric near a slicer. HR and the worker review mitigation, tighter wrap, hairnet over wrap, or rotate the station. Every scenario ended with the same ritual. Voice soft. Ask before rule. Solve together. By lunch, Amma returned to her desk wearing visitor's sunrise, tied low for comfort. Work found her hands easily, but outside the wind of change rattled a few windows. An email came from a major client. "We noticed new attire in your office photos. Please confirm your team will maintain professional standards for our European delegation." Mr. Pike forwarded it to HR with a line that trembled. "This, optics." Sophia smiled at the fear, small but with sharp teeth. She drafted a reply for sales to send. Sunrise prides itself on high professional standards. Timeliness, accuracy, safety, and respect. Our attire policy is aligned with global norms and local law. Team members may wear religious or cultural head coverings in non-hazard areas. We look forward to welcoming your delegation to a modern African workplace, efficient, inclusive, and world-class. Sales hit send. The sky did not fall. In the afternoon, the client replied with a smiley and a schedule change. Sometimes fear wears a suit and calls itself concern. Sometimes it is just hunger and a late lunch. At 3 p.m., facilities had its own meeting. Baba Alao drew a floor plan on a whiteboard. "Here are safety zones," he said, shading boxes around the test kitchen and small lab. "Here, wrap ends must be secured or covered with a hairnet, long scarves tucked. We will post green stickers where wraps are freely worn, amber where attention is needed." "Who will enforce?" asked a supervisor. "We will educate," said Baba. "Enforcement is for stubborn danger, not for stubborn aesthetics." They laughed, then wrote it down because laughter forgets. That evening, as the building stretched like a tired lion, Sophia took the lift to the lobby. The notice board had grown fresh leaves. Faith and Work Listening Circle, Friday 4 p.m. Crown and Code, Hair Health Clinic, next Tuesday lunchtime. Respectful security checks, new guidelines. A contractor in steel-toe boots read the flyers and said to no one, "E be like say this company get sense." The revolving doors whispered the city back inside. Roasted corn smoke, trotro jokes, a boy selling phone credits, a woman with a purple head wrap buying oranges and paying with a proverb. The drum says, "Ton, ton, ton." The moon replies, "Continue, continue, continue." When cloth teaches a company and a city, the delegation day arrived like a relative who sends a text, "I am 5 minutes away," while still ironing. 6 visitors stepped from their bus, wearing their own country's winter habits. Dark suits, pale faces, useful smiles. Amma's team lined up with tablets charged and head wraps secure. The reception desk offered Sobolo in small cups and a guide titled, "Welcome to Sunrise, What Feeds Our Work." In the conference room, slides danced, numbers behaved, and the shea butter forecast made even the shy graphs clap. Now and then, a visitor's eyes paused, on Amma's mango wrap, on Femi's fila, on Zainab's twist scarf, then moved on, as eyes do when they discover the world did not need permission to be big. During the plant tour, a visitor asked, "Do you require hairnets in the kitchen for head wraps?" "Where heat and open oil live, yes." said Baba Alao. We cover wraps, same as hair. Where desks and calculators cook numbers, no hairnets. We do not fry spreadsheets. Laughter warmed the stainless steel. When the delegation left, they waved. One woman touched her own short hair and said, "Your workplace is beautiful." She meant organized, clear, alive. But beautiful arrived first. Not everyone bowed to wisdom on the first drumbeat. The next week, a supervisor in a satellite warehouse tried to revive the ban, forwarding the old memo with, "As previously directed." A pallet of complaints rolled toward HR. Safia replied with sunlight, "Dear team, the old memo is void. Please follow the attached V4.0 guidance. If safety concerns arise, call HR to conduct the interactive process. We solve together." Safia. She scheduled a refresher for all outposts. She also sent a short manager's oath to sign, "I will not invent policy at the water cooler." People laughed and signed. Meanwhile, the city began to murmur the story. A radio host said, "Head wraps now legal in more offices." A blogger shouted, "HR saves the day." An auntie in a market stall said, "We have always been legal, we are just newly listened to." A rival company posted a stiff photo, all employees in identical navy suits, hair hidden under conformity. Their caption read, "Uniformity, unity." The comments ate them softly with pepper and corrected them politely with case law screenshots. Sunrise did not reply. It kept working. Work is an answer people understand in any language. On Friday, the Faith and Work listening circle gathered in the Palm Hall. No projector, just chairs in a ring, a bowl of cola, and a talking staff carved with Adinkra symbols. Whoever held it spoke. The rest listened with their mouths closed and their hearts open. A Muslim colleague spoke of Jumu'ah prayers and schedule flexibility. A Christian mentioned Ash Wednesday and charcoal on the brow. A traditionalist told of the cloth worn to remember an ancestor and the way binding the head binds the mind for focus. A secular colleague spoke of migraine triggers, light, sound, smells, and asked for fragrance-free zones. Safia noted each request and pointed each one to a policy door already built or soon to be built. When the talking staff reached Mr. Pike, he held it as if it could bite. "I thought standards were walls," he said at last. "Now I learn they are bridges. Bridges still carry weight. They just let people cross." The room did not clap. It breathed. Sometimes breath is the best applause. Sunrise's hair clinic came on Tuesday. A trichologist taught scalp health. "If your head were farmland," she said, "would you dig without oil? Protect the soil." She explained protective styles, locks, braids, wraps, why they matter. The facilities team took notes on vent placement, why cold air should not sit like a stubborn landlord on the same heads every day. After the clinic, a new line quietly entered facilities maintenance plan. Rotate vent diffusers to prevent direct cold flow on seated positions. Policy can be poetry if you read it with a warm head. Weeks later, Sunrise won a small award. Inclusive Workplace of the Quarter. The trophy looked like a droplet of molten glass caught mid-song. The CEO placed it in the lobby beside a real plant and a fake one. No one could tell which was which until it was time to water. Reporters came. Cameras blinked. They asked if head wraps lowered productivity. Safia pointed at the export numbers, rising like laughter after relief. They asked Amma to pose. She said yes, but insisted also to pose with Femi and Zainab and Auntie Lami and Baba Alao and Essie and Kalu, because a folktale is never a solo instrument. That night, Amma stood before her mirror and untied the mango cloth, fold by fold. Each fold carried a day, the ban, the email, the briefing, the policy, the listening circle, the clinic, the award. She hung the cloth like a small sunset at rest. Her phone buzzed. A message from Makwa, voice note, laughter tucked inside. "My child, I hear your office learned sense. Remember, a head wrap is not resistance, it is remembrance. Tie it when you must, untie it when you will. The head is yours. Keep it cool and full of good thoughts." Amma pressed play again, then again. Some wisdom you wear by listening. Epilogue that refuses to end, as every folktale keeps a door open. A new intern arrived at sunrise wearing a shy headscarf and a bright curiosity. She paused at the lobby trophy, read the poster, smiled, and walked to the lift without shrinking herself. On floor 3, a new safety sign appeared by the kettle. Steam is hot. Your culture is not the hazard. In the canteen, a poster said, "Bring your crown, bring your best." And in the city beyond, another manager unfolded a newspaper, squinted at a headline, "Company updates policy to respect head wraps, hair," and called HR with a question that sounded like surrender, but was really growth. "Can you send me that briefing?" The drum says don, don, don. The road answers walk, 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 short CTA. Again, because stories travel better in chorus. If this tale taught or touched you, like so the calabash passes further, share so another workplace learns the dance, and comment your city plus time, e.g. Kumasi, 4:27 p.m., with one line about what professionalism looks like where you are.